Hey everyone, it's Karen. Welcome to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by. I hope you will subscribe and stick around for a while. And of course, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And today we're going to be, well, I'm going to be setting up what I think I'm going to be doing for this month's Word of the Week kit by Prepared from Above. And it's kind of like a little paper crafting project. I'm not going to be doing it in my Bible, and I'm going to be doing something a little different that I think you might like. So what we're going to start with, I pulled some pieces of cardstock that I had in my stash, and I tried to match it up with the colors from the kit as best I could, because I'm going to be making little pockets, and I'll show you that in a minute. But what I have so far is I have a piece of colored cardstock, 5 of them, one for each word that we're going to be going through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these down into 8 by 8 squares. So we'll start with this one, because I think I'm going to use the green for peace, which is our first word of the week. So let's just start with this one. I'll put these to the side, and I'm going to get my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut this down to a square that's 8 by 8. So we'll just cut it here. Let me see. I have this paper cutter. It's kind of big for the screen, but anyways, it's going to be 8, and then turn it this way, and then by 8. So now I have a perfect square, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to score this down the middle, oops, each way. So I'm going to get my scoreboard and my my bone folder, and I'm just going to put this on the board, and I'm going to score it at 4, going down the middle, just so that I get a nice line that I can fold. This helps you fold it a little bit better. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard, I'll show you what you can do. You can use your paper trimmer. I keep hitting my lights. You can use your paper trimmer. Just open it, and then you have this little, there's a little groove that your blade slides down on your paper trimmer, if you have a paper trimmer. And then I'm going to open this up to 4 inches, and I've already scored down the middle this way, so now I'm going to turn my paper this way and score down here. And I'm just going to put this at 4 on my paper trimmer, and then on the track where my blade would go is where I'm going to use my bone folder, just to make a crease right there. And you don't want to press too hard, because you don't want to put a hole in your paper. So now what I have, I'm not sure if you can see, but I have a page that has 4 by 4 squares, since this was an 8 by 8. So now I'm just going to fold this on each of the score lines and crease it with my bone folder. Like this. Oops. And then I'm going to fold it this way and crease it along this fold. Okay, so now I have like 4 quadrants. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along this line, and I'm only going to cut up to the middle point of the paper. I'll get my scissors, and this doesn't have to be perfect, because you're going to cut a lot of it off. And I'm just going to go to the middle point. Let's see. So now I have this part, and I have, because these are going to be my flaps. Okay? So now, since these are my flaps, I'm going to fold it inward so that my flaps meet each other. So these 2 flaps, I'm going to fold it inward. Okay, so now I have my opening here. See that? Where it's folded. And then I'm going to cut, let me turn it over, sorry. So now we're this way. And I'm going to fold it together, and I'm going to cut from about here, from 2/3 up on this side, and I'm going to cut about, or maybe I'll go about a half, maybe halfway up on this side, and then I'm just going to cut it at a diagonal to maybe a ½ an inch from the top of this side. So, and I'm just going to eyeball it. So let's see, we'll just cut this way, like that. So this is now trash. So this is what we're left with, okay? And I know it looks kind of funny, but if you turn it back around this way, then you see that these flaps are going to flap up, and then these are going to be my little pockets. You see that? These are going to be my pockets. So in order to make it close a little bit better, because see how it like kind of folds kind of funky, I'm going to trim off the inner edges of each of these flaps. So again, I'm going to fold it, I'm going to lay it out flat, I'm going to fold it to where the flaps are together, and I'm just going to cut from the middle point of the paper, from the middle point of the paper, and I'm just going to cut up ever so slightly just to get rid of some of this bulk. And again, just eyeballing it. So you can see I didn't cut off very much, just little tiny pieces. So now, when I flip my pockets up, it looks like that. And it closes a lot better. Okay? So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to glue these flaps down. And I'm not going to glue this little part or the big part, obviously, because it's a pocket. So I'm just going to take my glue and run a thin line along the outer edge, and then do the same with this side. So that these are my pockets. Okay. So I'm going to do one of these for each word of the week, is my plan. And then I'm going to get little tags and stick them inside here for my scripture writing. So, yeah, that is my plan. So let me go ahead and grab some probably white cardstock for the tags that go inside, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I got some white cardstock, just plain white cardstock, because I'm going to make a tag for each verse that we're going to be doing for each word. So what it's going to be is this is going to be my little pamphlet or envelope folder for the word peace, and then I'm going to make a tag for each of the scriptures to just tuck into these little pockets. So I have this nesting tag die set that I got from scrapbook.com, and as you can see, it's got like nesting tags. So they go from this biggest size down to the smallest size, and they also have these little holes that you can stick in, like if you want it. I'm going to be using probably this size, because I think this size will fit nicely into these pockets like that. So and they have these little you can also use this little die cut piece. When you put it on your, if you have a die cutting machine, you just put it right here, and then it'll cut out the hole for you on the tag as well. But I'm not going to be using this because I think I'm going to use the word Fetty and put it across, but we'll get to that point later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these out on my manual die cutting machine. I would do that on camera, but it's going to be really shaky and probably a big old mess. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and then I'll do 5 of these for each verse, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I have all of my tags cut out. I have 5 of them for each verse. So now I'm going to decorate these just a little bit, and then they'll just stick right here into these pockets. So my plan is to have one of these pocket folders for each word of the week. So they'll just, all my scriptures will just fit in just like that. Okay, and then before we get to decorating the tags a little bit, I need to decorate the front. So that's what we're going to do. So for this part, since it's just decorating, I'm probably going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward while I decorate this, and then just embellish my tags just a little bit for each verse. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put you on fast forward and we'll get started. Okay, so here I'm just showing you that I've already cut apart all of the pieces from the page of ephemera for peace. And then I'm not sure how I'm going to put these little booklets together at the end, but I'm going to put those tabs aside in case I want to tab each little booklet. And then I'm just going to get this piece of ephemera and tape it down, and also this little stack of books. But before I put the books down, I'm going to stamp out my title. And this is the alpha stamp. It's the True North alpha stamp from By the Well for God. And I'm just going to use that to stamp out a piece on the front of the card, or little pocket folder. So each little pocket folder in the front will have the word that we're going over for that week. And then I'm going to get these little books and use my tape runner to stick it down on the front of the little pocket folder there. And then we'll go ahead and work on the inside. And I was going to use that little square that had all of the verses on it, but it had a blue outline around it, and it didn't really match with the ephemera that I was using. So I just set that aside for a minute. I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or not. And in the meantime, I went and cut out all my little pieces of peace. And then I'm just going to stick each one, use my glue and stick each one to the top of each of the tabs, or each of the tags that I cut out. So I'm going to use those tags for writing my scriptures, and I'm not really sure. I think I'll just embellish them. I was going to embellish them all right now, but I think I'll just do that as I go. It's not going to be anything really elaborate or crazy. It's just going to maybe soften up the edges or something like that. So all my little tags are just going to sit in the pockets like that for each word of the week. And then I'm just going to decorate the inside a little bit. This is a stamp set from Creative Retreat Kits. And I'm going to put my white paper there below because I'm just going to stamp along the edge of the little flap for the pocket. And here I'm just trying to get the stamp to be as straight as possible on the block because it was kind of like a curvy stamp, which is kind of one of the good things about using these kinds of stamps, because they're a little moldable, so to speak. When you're putting them on your stamp block, you can shape them and, curve them a little bit, or if they're curved, you can straighten them a little bit. So anyways, I'm just going to stamp that down along the edge of the pocket, and I'm going to do that on both sides, and just to give it a little something on the inside. I was going to put some ephemera on the inside pockets, but then I decided not to, so I just stamped out those little leaves. And then I have this stamp set. It's by Kelly Bangs for Illustrated Faith, and it's all of the books of the Bible. The only thing about this stamp that I don't like is that there's no numbers. So I didn't have any numbers that were roughly the same size as the stamps itself. So I'm using a different alphabet stamp, which I'll show you in a minute here. But I'm just going to stamp out the books of the Bible for the verses that go along with peace. And then I'm going to use that alpha stamp. It's the Matthew alpha, and that one's also from By the Well for God. And that was the smallest stamp set that I had that had numbers. I mean, I could have written the verse address itself, but my handwriting's kind of icky, and I just wanted the whole thing to be stamped. So I'm just going to put the numbers down, and it is a little bit bigger than the name of the book, but that's okay. And then I'm going to get like a fairly thick felt pen and just put the colons in between the book and verse, or chapter and verse, I'm sorry. And then my cards will just sit in the top right there. So then I know which verses. I think I'm going to put the verses themselves on the cards as well, but that's how that one looks for now. So then we'll move on. I'll do one more. I'm going to do calm, and I'm using blue. And again, I'm just cutting down my paper to 8 by 8, and I'm going to use my bone folder to score right down the middle so that I have 4 by 4 squares. And then creasing along each edge, cutting up to the center point, turning my paper, and then I'm going to cut along to make the pocket, and then I'm going to cut off a little bit of the bulk from the inside. So now I have my little pockets. And then I'm using my glue again. I'm just showing you there. It's got a really fine tip. This is the Barely Arts Precision Glue, or Barely Arts Craft Glue. And then I'll have that linked in the description box below. So now I'm going to go through and find which elements that I want for Calm, which I also already cut out and added to my little tray there. And I decided that I want to use this girl, so I'm just going to fussy cut her out. But I don't want to just put her on the cover by herself, because then it's just, in my mind, it's going to look like she's just kind of floating there. You'll see in a second that it looks kind of odd. So I got this piece of pattern paper from my stock, and I just cut it to 4 inches wide. And I'm just measuring there how high I want it. And right here I'm showing you, if you pull the right side towards you, you'll end up with that white edge on the left piece, which is what I like. And if you don't like it, then you can just push the right edge away from you, and then your left side will be a cleaner non-white non-white edge. So I'm just going to cut a little bit more off the top because it was a little high, and then I'm going to get my tape runner and then glue that along the bottom of the front of the pocket so that it looks like she's sitting on something. And the color kind of matches her sweater as well, so that worked out. It's kind of like a tan beigey color. So I'm just going to sit her right there, and then it doesn't look like she's floating so much. And then I'm going to get this alpha stamp. This is the Quinny Alpha by Illustrated Faith, and I'm just going to use that to stamp out the word that we're doing for the second week, which is calm. So I'm just going to stamp that out on the front of the card as well. And luckily I had room. As you can see, it's almost hitting her head there, but it's fine. And then I'm also decided that I wanted to use this little chair on the inside, so I got another piece of quote-unquote flooring to put along the bottom of the inside pocket so that the chair can sit right there on something. And then for this pocket, I am going to use the square that came with the ephemera with the verses for this week. It's outlined in kind of like a pinkish color, which matches the blanket that's on the chair. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that down on the inside pocket right there so that it has all my verses. And then I've already gone ahead and cut out my word fetty and put them on each of my tabs, which you'll see right there. And I'm just going to stick those in the pocket as well. So I have some close-ups of my finished projects coming up here for you guys in just a second. And I will put links to everything I used in the description box below the video if the products are still available, as well as the link for the Prepared From Above website, where if you use coupon code Karen20, you can save 20% off of everything in the shop, including the current kit. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!